In this video, we are going to be talking about the biggest culture shocks when moving from a foreign country to Portugal. I am both an American and British citizen, so I've lived in both of these countries for extended periods of time and sections of my life. So I understand the culture shocks that I experienced when first moving here, and also I've spoken to hundreds of other expats and foreigners and have helped them move here, and I've seen the culture shocks that they've experienced. So let's get into the video and find out more. So the first thing that I noticed when I moved here was the Portuguese sense of time. Now, everything seems to be happening 5 to 10 minutes later than it does in the UK or the States. Because there it's important that you arrive on time and everything happens on time, because it can be considered rude if it doesn't. In Portugal, however, everything seems to be running late, or people seem to be running late to a meeting 5 or 10 minutes, and it's very customary here. So you do tend to get used to it after a while. It does take a little bit to get used to it and understand that that's how stuff works here. And now it doesn't bother me, and if it does so happen that everybody's on time, it's a pleasant surprise. But I'm used to it now, and I think everybody does adjust to it, and it's part of the culture and life here that everything does happen 5 to 10 minutes late, and that's just the Portuguese way. Now, this is probably one of the biggest factors for people actually moving to Portugal, but it is the safety here. Now, this is by far the safest I've ever felt in any country that I've ever been in or moved to or lived in or spent an extended period of time in. Portugal is statistically an incredibly safe country, and I can 100% agree with that, and I can feel it day to day. You can go anytime, anywhere on the streets basically, and you feel completely safe and secure. Whereas in the States, I never really felt safe, and this was one of the biggest factors for me not wanting to spend time there or really live there permanently. And same goes for the UK and London, especially right now, and other areas. It does seem to have the element of danger to it and not feeling secure. Especially if you have kids and a family, you really want that safety and knowing that everybody's going to be okay and is safe and secure the entire time. So Portugal is definitely one of the safest countries in the world, and you really, really feel safe and secure here, which is incredible. And the next is healthcare. So somebody from the States will really appreciate this one, but public healthcare is 100% free here, which is just amazing, right? If you need a certain procedure done or look up or this, you can go to a public healthcare hospital here in Portugal, and it is 100% free for residents, which is great. Of course, with the NHS in England, you are quite used to this, and in the UK, so it's not such a big shift there, but for people living in the States, it definitely is. And for the private healthcare sector, it is significantly cheaper than it is over in the States, which is another really big factor that I speak to many people about moving here, and they really, really love it. So it's definitely something to look into, considering how much money you will save going into the private healthcare system. And the healthcare here is really, really high quality, as you get many incredible physicians and doctors in the private healthcare sector. So definitely a good point to consider here, and very important for many, many expats and foreigners that I speak to. The next point is Portugal is actually incredibly welcoming to expats and foreigners. You may be surprised about this, as in the States and in the UK, there tends to be some anti-immigration laws, and people are a bit against immigrants coming into the country. But in Portugal, they really enjoy and appreciate people coming from all over the world, getting immersed in the culture. Now, there are some people here and there maybe that aren't the biggest fans of it, and expats, there's no doubt about it, have risen the prices here. But a lot of the industries here are built around tourism and foreign expats coming here, so it's definitely done a huge benefit overall for the country, I believe, having foreign income sources coming in and foreigners living here year round. I've definitely seen it over the years. Portugal has just been getting better and better and better, and that's why the prices of housing and other stuff has been on the rise, particularly in real estate, just because of how incredible Portugal really is and how welcoming they are, and people just really, really are just great here to the expats. There's no discrimination against them, so it's a really nice thing when moving here. Now let's talk about the diversity of landscapes in Portugal. Portugal is not the biggest country by a long shot, but it is incredibly diverse. You have stunning beaches with beautiful cliffs and overhanging, looking at some of the best views I've ever seen of the ocean. and then you have incredible mountains, mountain scenery, views, the Douro Valley with all those vineyards over there, and it's just stunning everywhere you go. It's just really incredible. Even driving throughout Portugal, if you're driving from Algarve through to Lisbon and through to Porto, you see some incredible views just even being on the highway, which is, you know, unlike many other areas that I've been to in the States or the UK where it can get a bit dull. But no matter where you go in Portugal, you know, you're exploring, you're seeing new stuff, you're seeing mountain ranges, then you're seeing the incredible coastline. Like you've got nothing missing here, really. You even have skiing up in the very north of Portugal where there's mountains, where it snows. So, you know, you really have a mix of everything here, which I think is incredible. And it's so nice when you're driving through and you see beautiful scenery all around. So a definite bonus there. Now this one definitely hits home, which is the food in Portugal is really second to none in my opinion. I absolutely love it and cannot be a big enough advocate at all for it. You have such diverse cuisine here, from the best seafood in the world, catch fresh every single day at some of these local Portuguese restaurants for incredibly low prices for the quality that you're getting, which is incredible. Then you have amazing steak and other meat places, chicken, especially in the Algarve. They're famous for their Algarvian chicken. Just the food, the drinks, the wines, the everything, the cuisine is immaculate. So definitely another important factor there. Now the next culture shock that everybody experiences is, of course, Portugal's native language is not English but Portuguese. So if you do not speak fluent Portuguese, you may have a little bit of a tricky time. Although many Portuguese are really starting to learn English, you can get around speaking English. There will be certain pockets in Portugal, especially in the more rural areas, where you will kind of need to speak Portuguese because it's a bit of an older community. They're more stuck in their ways, and you know, you do need some Portuguese to navigate there. But in the main cities such as Porto, Lisbon and the Algarve, you know, you have those expat communities, and there's a big culture around being able to speak English, and it's a big part of their trade and industry. So it's important, and you can definitely get around speaking English. But you know, of course, I always advise to take some Portuguese lessons or at least get immersed into it, because it's really nice being able to speak to the locals. They appreciate it, and it's just a great thing altogether. Now the next is weather. Now the weather in Portugal isn't always sunny as you might think. Well, there's a caveat to that. In the Algarve, where I am based actually, it is pretty much sunny all year round. It never gets really that cold. But if you are in the areas such as Lisbon and Porto, more north of Portugal, you will be experiencing a bit wetter weather and colder throughout the winters. Especially in Porto, it does get quite nippy and chilly there. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider. If you are based in the Algarve, you know, you've pretty much got beautiful sunny days throughout the year, easily over 300 days of sunny and blue skies. So that's definitely something that's, you know, important for me, that I have that incredible weather year round. Other people, you know, it's not such a big deal for, but yeah, it's something to consider. And I always think people should have that in the forefront of their mind when making a decision where they should live in Portugal, as it is quite important. In Porto and further north areas on the Silver Coast, you definitely get colder winters, and you need to make sure that the property you are going to be purchasing has heating so you can, you know, warm yourself up in the winters. Now this is definitely something that pretty much all the expats and foreigners that, you know, we help and we speak to have this generalization and issue with, is the bureaucracy in Portugal can be quite frustrating at times, and they're very slow. They tend to get back to you quite slowly. They're a bit stuck in their ways in terms of they don't speak that good English, so you always need some kind of help navigating it, and you never feel quite so comfortable within it. But of course, you don't have to be dealing with bureaucracy every single day. It's a very rare occurrence. So, you know, it's not such a big deal. You get used to it, you understand the way it works. Stuff takes a lot longer than it would do in the UK and in the States. So it's something you become accustomed to, but it is very frustrating at times when you're not used to it and wondering where on earth my NIF is, which is necessary for moving here, or getting a bank account open can sometimes take a long time. A lot of the stuff isn't digital here, and stuff has just happened to be done physically, so it has to be mailed out to you and all of that. So there's many nuances and things which go on within the bureaucracy of Portugal that can be frustrating, but as soon as you understand that, you accept it, it's completely okay. Now, a big factor for people moving to Portugal, not only for all the other things that I've mentioned previously on other videos and in this video, is the cost of living. The cost of living is of course a very big deal to pretty much everybody. And the cost of living in the States and in the UK and here has gone up quite considerably along with the rest of the world due to the inflation. However, it is still quite considerably cheaper to be living in Portugal than it is in the UK and in the US. You get a higher quality lifestyle here than you would in those places for the same money, and your money goes further. Now, moving to Portugal can have its cultural shocks, and it may be a tricky transition period, as leaving home or where you've spent the last few years of your life, can be tricky, and the transition is never super easy. But nobody that we have worked with or that I've spoken to particularly has had any, regrets about moving to Portugal. And I believe that is really quite unique and extraordinary that we haven't met anybody that has that, you know what I mean? There's just, people love it here, and I understand of course why. It's why I live here, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, to be honest with you, at this point. It's just really beautiful, super safe, incredible food, beautiful landscapes, and, people are very friendly, so there's nothing really lacking here. And it's so easy to get through from the Algarve to Lisbon to Porto. Everything's very close, so you can travel throughout Portugal, experience the city life, then go to a more rural area, go to a vineyard to try some of the best wines in the world. So there's nothing really lacking. Now, if you do want help relocating to Portugal, then we are Portugal buyers, and I can help you, myself personally and my team, relocate you with ease, making sure that we're going to navigate the bureaucracy of Portugal, helping you with your NIF, your bank account, sourcing the perfect property for you, come to the viewings, do virtual tours, so we make sure to point out every single issue that we might see with a property, and we obviously are experts in properties here, so we know any issues or little small things that can come up that could cause a huge headache as the time goes on. So we make sure to navigate that completely with a full comprehensive service. So if you are interested in that, you can fill out the form below and book a call with us, and I look forward to seeing you there and speaking with you soon.